And here is Sir Muir Gray walking into the studio right now.
What you preach,
living, by your own maxims. Good to see you.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
And you walked in from where you were staying this morning, not just across the studio floor, didn't you? You wouldn't have a taxi, we couldn't bring you in by car.
So you got to build it into little bits everywhere in your life.
Yes, so that's what we just... Gargi just ran through some of your top tips, standing up rather than sitting down when you're watching television, or standing on one leg, little bits here and there. The idea, though, that you've suggested that type 2 diabetes isn't a real disease and actually it should be renamed, that's quite controversial, isn't it? Do you understand why people have got upset about what you've suggested?
Yes, but the key issue here is to say it's an environmental problem, like cholera in the 19th century. We live in an environment dominated by three things: the car, the computer and the desk job. People sitting at desks all day or sitting on a sofa. So the world has changed. It's an environmental problem. I mean, there are people commuting for an hour and then sitting 9 hours and then spending another hour driving home.
So just as cholera was an environmental problem that actually took not the individual to solve, but governments and society to solve, I guess where the insult is here is people with type 2 diabetes will feel like you are making it their fault, whereas actually it's the fault of the way our society is constructed.
Well, it's individual and social responsibility. Part of the problem, of course, is that we in the health service, we've simply given out pills. And we're introducing what we call activity therapy. So if you've got medication, and most people will need medication, we also give you encouragement, information, advice through both GPs and pharmacists. So we're calling that double prescribing. And one of the people who appeared on a programme yesterday said his doctor had never given them any information at all about being active. He'd just given them the prescription for the pills. But,
OK, Alan Hale has emailed saying it's unbelievable to hear this doctor is saying type 2 diabetes is not an illness, it's due to lack of exercise. I was working 13 hours a day on my feet, I still got it, I now have heart failure, which means I can't work. And obviously Alan's not going to be able to be as mobile as he would like to be. And there will be cases like Alan's that aren't necessarily just about lack of exercise and poor diet.
No, but you see that...
And that's the crucial thing, though, isn't it, that you are tarnishing everybody with that brush.
I'm saying type 2 diabetes is too vague to be useful. I think people like him have got type 1 of late onset, like Mrs. May. And quite a few of the people who have written to me have said, oh, I've been very active and I'm not overweight. And I've written back and saying, look, I think you've got type 1 of adult onset. And we're just lumping everyone in our mind as having either type 1, you get it in childhood, or type 2, you get it later in life. So there's probably about 15 different conditions under this label of type 2 diabetes. We need to think in a different way about it.
So you're saying, in a way, it should be a positive thing, it should be an empowering thing, and actually, you know, people should think, I can cure this myself, I don't need to take this medication. I guess there are people that aren't listening to the message, and what do you do then?
Well, you see, we've created this in the medical profession, so we've got hypercholesterolemia, and we've got high blood pressure, and we've got type 2 diabetes. These are all symptoms or conditions of our modern life. And what we're saying to people is it's, for most of you, you will need medication, but that's not enough. So on the preventive side, we need to think of ways in which we can help people even walk, and we're doing this with Public Health England. Start little bits. Could you walk 10 minutes more a day, briskly? Get off the bus 3 stops earlier. I say to bosses, get your staff out at lunchtime, even if you don't love them. They'll work better and more in the afternoon. So get them out and then walk a little bit home.
Because I can hear people screaming at the TV right now thinking, I am absolutely exhausted. I am working all hours God sends just to make ends meet, possibly with 2 jobs. I physically don't feel I could do more. And if I said, oh, I've got off the bus 3 stops early, which will take me 10 minutes longer, I might then be late to work, I can't drop the kids off to school. You need to talk to our bosses and the people who are, you know, in charge of us, not us.
Oh, I agree completely. I mean, and I've just finished a book called Midlife, and the people aged 40 to 60 are what are rightly called the sandwich generation. They've got kids, 1 or 2 jobs, often elderly parents living far away to look after. So it's tough, but it's an environmental problem that we have to help people adapt to.
And you said to me, I think 2 hours standing a day is the equivalent of running 15 marathons, is that right?
That's about it. It's
okay.
not quite
so well, let's all stand up. We should just stand up, and we're out of time on the interview, but I think if we do a little bit of standing up, because you never really made it round the marathon first time round, did you?
I did.
Well, not strictly.
I did.
You kind of got.
I walked. Are you discouraging my activity?
You carried round my clay in his ear. Muir, lovely to see you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're going to be walking home as well, or walking off to work. There you go.
Thank you.
It's good to see him. Thank you very much. There you go. If you head
a living embodiment of his own advice. That's good, isn't it?
It's nice to stand up every now and again, isn't it?
Let's have a good stretch. Like.
It doesn't stop. Doesn't stop.
No, he's keeping going.